Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of Tbreak OneShot, where it is ridiculously hot in Dubai. In fact, right before the show, we were talking about how hot it is, and for some strange reason, Murphy was stroking his microphone, which I honestly don't know what for. But
Was
Murphy, do you
clearing the
think
dust.
you were cleaning the dust off your microphone?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's been a while. It's been a while. I think I missed two podcasts, right?
yeah,
Mm.
that's true. Last time around, Sam was heading the EV one, which even I couldn't attend completely. Uh, I was there in half of it. And what did we do before that? One feels like it's been ages.
It does seem like
It's
it was a while
memory
ago.
fog, and you know what helps? Pocari Sweat. No, they're not really sponsoring us or anything. We're just talking about drinks during summer to keep us rehydrated, and that was one of the things I decided to get that. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
good.
good.
Hot, but pretty good.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I mean, it's definitely hot, and I don't know if the phone season is going to make it any hotter. There have been tons
Oh,
of phone releases that we've sort of played with over the last week or so. Let's just get right into it, and let's get started with Samsung that is launching their new foldables, which is the Z Fold 6 and the Z Flip 6 today, in fact. Now we got a bit of a hands-on with it, and before I sort of get into it, uh, let me ask Sam first. Sam, do you prefer the flip or the fold kind of form factor when it comes to foldable phones?
if I have to pick between the two, I think the flip is a more, like from a functional standpoint, it makes
Mm-hmm.
more sense. The pocketability, the design, and all of that. I would love the fold though to figure out the whole aspect ratio. Like I would consider getting a fold from a video content consumption standpoint, but
Okay,
because it doesn't get to really utilize that, doesn't make sense. So the flip.
fair enough. And Muf, how about yourself?
Yeah, same as Sam. Like the fold is nice, but it's kind of too big, too chunky. I don't like that aspect ratio. The flip is better, but I would rather have a standard phone than a flip or a fold as of yet because
Gotcha.
it's still not there yet for me at least.
Yep, fair enough. So both of you prefer a standard sized phone that flips into half or gets folded into half and it's
Yes.
pocketable.
Yeah.
Now, it's a very valid concern that you guys have about the fold and the aspect ratio, which is kind of squarish, which makes it difficult for anything and everything. I think Samsung's the one that kind of started this trend, and then almost everyone followed. Google tried to be a little different last year with the Pixel Fold, which was a bit shorter and a bit wider. Unfortunately, that failed miserably, even though I think I preferred that form factor. Exactly same reasoning why you guys are sort of on board with, but
Mm.
it didn't do too well with Google, and there are rumors that they're going to switch back to the or they're going to switch to the form factor that you can find on the Samsung Galaxy Fold or all other devices. Right.
Oh
So
wow.
coming to the Galaxy Fold 6, let's start with that. What's new this year? So, well, not much really. It's pretty much a rehash of last year's phone. Same cameras. They've just squared off the edges a little bit, so it looks a little bit more like the S24 Ultra or the Note series instead
Okay.
of the more iPhoney with rounded corners and stuff like that. It's ever so slightly wider by a hairline, so I don't know if that's gonna help with the regular consumption.
Mm.
The one thing it does have going for itself is they've reduced the weight tremendously, so now it's just a tad bit heavier than their regular S24 Ultra flagship, which is good. I think that's great. But then I think all other handhelds or all the foldables have sort of gone down that route as well. And if you look at something which is the Honor or even the Huawei, a couple of other ones, they're both thinner and lighter than what Samsung is going to offer with the Fold 6.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where that leaves Samsung. I mean, they're obviously the longest one in the race. It's one of the oldest designs. They haven't really changed drastically. Yes, they've made iterations every year, but there hasn't been something of a massive shift in designs. So I'm not sure if there are enough reasons for people to upgrade over last year's model, sure. If you're 2 generations behind and you're looking for a foldable, potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there are any other reasons for anyone to upgrade. The Flip, on the other hand, it's interesting what they've done. So, generally speaking, the Flip comes out with a slightly it's got a flagship processor, but it doesn't have the RAM or the battery or the camera, for example, to match Samsung's S24 lineup or the Ultra or Pro lineup. This year, that changes. They're equipping it with same camera as the S24 Plus. It has 12 gigs of RAM. It's got a big 4,000 milliamp battery. So I think the sales pitch this year is that it's a proper flagship now in a foldable flip design. Other
Form
than that,
factor.
it looks exactly. Other than that, it looks exactly the same as the last year. So I don't know if that's much of a sell. But what do you guys think about these two phones? Let's start with Muff.
Um, I don't know. Like for me, these two form factors have never had the appeal. You know, the Flip has the appeal of nostalgia, where you can
Mhm.
flip and open it. But for me, like these don't uh, excite me so much because when I want to use my phone, I want one screen. I don't want like a smaller screen and then I fold to a bigger screen. I don't want that nonsense. You know, just give me one screen. I will use that.
Mhm.
Uh, and I also think like it's kind of, I don't know if it's stagnated, but it's the same thing again. Like you said, Abbas, like Samsung, the new Flip and Fold, they look the same as the last year's. So what's new? What's because this is a category that should see rapid
Innovation.
innovations,
Yep, I
and
agree.
it should move forward, but it's kind of not, where the manufacturers are still like, we don't know what to add, so we'll just refine it further, but there's no next step uh, that will propel these form factors to be the new standard, you know, if that's what they are wanting.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
it's kind of stuck in the lull here, where it's there, it's nice, it's novel, but
Mhm.
what next? Like, why should I use the Fold? Why should I use a Flip? There's no purpose.
So I'll give you two examples that they shared for the Flip, which I thought was kind of cool. One of them was that if you are sort of having a conversation with someone in another language, so they're
I
seeing the
saw that.
external screen and they're seeing the text on their language versus you looking inside and you're sort of looking at your language kind of perspective, which I thought was a decent use case scenario.
How big is that screen?
It's good. It's big enough. It's big enough for you to sort of watch it. I think it's 3.7 inches or something along those lines. So it's very much almost the same size as the external phone when it's flipped down.
So
It's a decent size. Yes,
Nice.
great.
let's say you use the translation feature and you're showing the screen to someone. Will they
Mhm.
have to like squint at the screen? Uh,
No, I
you
didn't
know,
feel the need to do so. We tried it out at the launch event, and I didn't feel the need to do so. In fact, I think we've got a video showcasing just that. Hopefully, producer Mara can sort of show that while we're talking about that. So, I mean, that is a pretty good way of using a dual-sided or dual-screen phone. I think that was one, and the second thing again that goes in favor of the Flip is that the selfie camera is the primary camera, and because you can sort of angle it any way you want to, you can literally put the phone down and then flip it and sort of record a video of, I don't know, if you want to vlog or do whatever it is that you want to do. It gives you a nice flexibility to sort of do on that level. So I kind of liked those
That's
two
cool.
features of the Flip. Yep. Um, will your opinion change if Apple enters the game?
Oh,
uh, it
Let's start with
depends on.
Sam. Let's
Okay.
start with Sam on this one.
um, I don't think so. Given, like I say, I think both myself and Mufi are similar as to flip fold utilization and all of that.
Okay.
Given that we're both in the Apple ecosystem, obviously that helps from a use case perspective, and I guess from also Apple's perspective of being a polished product. Like if you want something done right and having all of those fine nuances that are just really really cool,
Yep.
yes. But unless, like I say, there is that sort of revolution rather than evolution in the whole domain. I don't think so. And I'm curious whether it's because the thing is, we're sort of in a unique position given our ages growing up, seeing the evolution of phones as such,
Hmm.
right? There was this huge leap, leaps and bounds between each different model and innovations and everything. So is it a hardware constraint to have developed those aspects? Or is it really that it's down to the manufacturer that, okay, what more else can be done, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Muff, your thoughts?
Um, if it depends on what Apple does, because like it or not, they whenever they enter a market, they kind of set the standard. Like with the Vision Pro,
Hmm.
that's the standard for VR, AR moving forward. Yes, it didn't do too well because it's super expensive. Once they bring the price down, it's going to fly. So I have little faith in Apple that if they enter a new market, they might stagnate later, but when they enter, they will bring out something that no one has thought of, and especially with the flip and fold designs, they will do something with the software, with the hardware that suddenly, it makes sense. That
Hmm.
makes
Mm.
sense kind of click that Apple usually brings to their new products. That's something that I might be looking forward to if they ever announce that, oh, we are making a flip phone or a fold phone,
Yep.
and the fact that they haven't for like nearly a decade now says something that they don't see anything in it. Maybe in the future that changes, but we will see.
What if Apple was to take the iPad mini and fold it into a phone? Would that be something that would be interesting to you guys? Sam, how about we start with you?
Now that you say it, that would definitely be something super cool. I mean, I did rock obviously the Sony Xperia Z
Hmm.
something a few years ago. We got a lot of laughs being such a big phone, but if it's on that size and it's foldable, it's pocketable, the aspect ratio is going to be right for video consumption, the battery life is going to be amazing. Yeah, I'd definitely consider that.
Yeah. Murphy, what about yourself?
I could like um, but it's always going to be a software thing where
Yeah.
can it do the iPad OS and the phone OS reasonably well? Uh,
It's Apple. Of
and
course they're going to do it. Of
Yeah. And at the end
yes,
of the day, it's the same OS, right?
exactly.
iPad OS came out of iOS.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm sure Apple will figure it out if they ever do this, where it seamlessly blends into the iOS and the I, iPad OS. And if they ever do that, iPad Mini 8-inch goes down to like 4 as a phone. Yeah, it
Yep.
could work. They could actually
Yeah.
make that work.
One other sort of form factor for not a foldable but phones that extend are rollable phones. So I'm not sure if you guys remember, Motorola had shown something
Yeah.
where they've got a phone and you press a button and then kind of opens up, which I think is also pretty cool because then you don't have to sort of worry about folding and stuff like that. It just rolls into it. I think that could be kind of cool as well moving forward. But yeah, I mean, Samsung with the Fold 6 and Flip 6, let's see how these phones do. Hopefully, we'll have a full on review for you guys soon for that. But excited about these two. Let's see how they go on. All right, so next up on the list, we have this new CMF Phone 1. It's an interesting concept. The whole back kind of comes out. You see these stainless steel screws on there. The whole cover kind of pops out, and you've got this little sorry there this little thing on the back, which is sort of like a something that you can attach accessories to. There's this little kickstand that they've got a wallet, they've got a couple of other things. It costs what, 749 dirhams, so it's not an expensive phone by any standard. And it stands out in this very vast sea of Android phones that don't cost very much. Now, is it gimmicky? Is it something that could potentially do well? Let's start with Sam. Sam, you sort of played around a little bit with the phone as well. What are your thoughts on this?
So I would agree. I would think that it's gimmicky if it wasn't of like it didn't have that quality aspect to it, but actually with, playing with the phone, you using the screwdriver and removing the back cover and everything, it seems actually like really quite polished. Whether it's a product like personally for me that I would use, I'm rocking the same back cover I've rocked, and the only reason I changed to this one was because the other one broke. So it's not my kind of thing, but really cool from like a personalization standpoint, all the different accessories, and it seems polished, like it feels good quality, in your hand. So I think if you like rocking the covers,
Yeah,
customizing it, cool. It is quite cool.
nice. Muff, what are your thoughts on this?
So when I saw this phone on our social, I was like, wow, this is quite exciting for its price point. For
Mhm.
749 you get a phone as good as this, and then you can do all the customizations and change the backplate. You can also, so if you have two backplates, you can use the round screw from a- another case, and backplate from a- another case, and match colors and all of that. So that aspect is pretty cool. But I feel like this USP where you can unscrew the back plate or a- add attachments to it, that aspect will live or die by third party support. So
Mm,
as third party manufacturers build more things for this phone specifically, then the utilization of that little space, that little screw hole where you can put stuff on it, will expand to a lot more functionalities than what nothing has shown so far. But for for me, this phone is quite
CMF.
it's from nothing, right?
Correct. That's right.
Yeah,
Do they have
So,
that sort of segregation? Like how does it work? Like I'd never
it's
yeah,
heard
a
of
sub
CMF
brand.
before.
it's there. Yeah, absolutely. It's a sub brand. And I think so. I was chatting with Rishi from Nothing, and I asked him that exact same question: why sort of launch a sub brand for this?
Mm,
And his answer was that, look, I mean, as far as Nothing itself is concerned, their whole thing has been about translucency. All of their products, everything they make has got this whole translucent design language, and they didn't want to sort of move away from there. So they introduced a sub brand which can then go wild with playing with all kinds of materials and designs and stuff.
right.
And also, as far as the price point is concerned, I don't think they wanted to lower the price of a Nothing phone down to 749 dirhams. So I think from those 2 points, which makes sense. And as far as Murphy, you were talking about the USPs of this phone, and yes, granted, that changeable covers and the whole ecosystem that can come around it is good. But it is also running the Nothing OS, which, in my opinion, right now is one of the better
Mm,
Android skins out there. They have done such a good job
yeah,
with this. It's very bloat free. It runs smooth. It runs beautifully. It's got nice aesthetics to it. So it's quite nice that way. That's one thing that you won't find on other 800,000 dirham phones that it's
yeah,
competing with. So that's going on. And the second thing what you said was whether third parties choose to sort of adapt this and create. Don't forget, we live in a time where you can 3D print stuff at home. So even if you've got
mm,
fans that can design
Mm,
something and you can
oh
easily
yeah,
remove the covers and put something on the back for it, I
yeah,
think that could potentially be, a game changer for this as well. In
yes,
fact, this was something that they did talk about at the launch event. I like how this company, Nothing, is so community focused. There was no massive keynote to launch this phone. They hold these community updates every quarter on what's new with them, and they've got a massive forum where they've got almost, I think, a couple of million users that are on there that sort of talk about which direction they would like the company to sort of go in and stuff like that. So they come up with these quarterly updates, and that's exactly where they launched this phone. It was literally just a part of their community event. It wasn't a whole dedicated launch event or anything at all. I think that's very, very cool. The other thing that I also like from that perspective is they said that they're actually working on a phone design that's been inspired by the community members. So whatever they've asked for, they're working on a design based on that. That's expected to
Oh,
release
wow.
in November of this year. So I think they are really paying it off for their fans and community. I think
Mm,
it's pretty cool that way. They
yeah.
also launched a couple of other things besides that. So what you're seeing right now is basically AirPods version, their earbuds. And I like how they've got this dial on the case itself. It can change volume, it can do actions on the case. So you don't need to swipe on the buds themselves if you've got the case. It's nice. It's nice to have that little
That's cool.
rocking slider on there. There's also a watch that they are releasing along with this, which is sort of like, again, a very affordable watch. From what I remember, it was like 600 dirhams or 500 dirhams, something along those lines. Looks nice. It's got a 14-day battery life, does your bio, does your health, all of that tracking. So it's cool. I like where this company is headed. I think I see a good future, and they've
Mm,
managed to stand themselves out in a very crowded Android space. So
mm,
I'm
Yep.
excited for new products from them.
Yeah. Like for me, nothing has been the most um, re- e- refreshing company so far, because every year there's a new Samsung, there's a new Huawei, there's a new iPhone, and they kind of all look the same, thinner, faster, better cameras, blah blah blah. But nothing has this unique design language. They have a nice design.
Mhm.
They are aiming for something. They are trying to do something different, and it may or may not work, but at least it's something new, something we have not seen before, something fresh, and I really like that about them.
Absolutely. One of the things that, again, their product manager or Rishi, when I was speaking to, was mentioning, and Sam, I'd like to get your opinion on this,
mm.
was that he says that his CEO, Carl Pei, looks at the way the phones have evolved into three stages. He's like, it's
Okay.
the pre apps era. So dumb phones or Nokias
Yeah.
and stuff like that we had, the app era in which we live in right now, where everything's an app, and the post app era, where again apps will disappear, replaced by services that will be managed with an AI on top of it. So instead of having an app to check your flight status, you will literally ask the AI on the phone to sort of look up your flight status or what your flight status is or your hotel reservations.
Yeah.
Things will automatically surface when they're
Mhm.
supposed to surface at the time that they're required to surface. You don't need to go into an app to pull out your booking, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
he looks at it as a way where apps will kind of disappear into services, and the
Mm,
phone will then keep servicing them or bringing or surfacing them up when you are sort of required to sort of do that. When it's lunchtime, something like a Deliveroo agent could come in, or a food delivery agent will come in saying that, hey, this is what you ordered last week. Are you in the mood for this food, or would you like
mm,
to try something different? And then do that whole process for you without you going into a Deliveroo app or a Talabat app and stuff like that. Sam, how do you feel about I mean, do you think this is a future that you can see coming, or is this, or we're stuck with apps? Apps are forever.
I can definitely see it. I mean, it all plays into the convenience aspect, right? To have that level of customization to each individual person. And ChatGPT is going to definitely, play into that. Just from the little bit of testing that I'd seen Danesh do with the nothing earbuds and the
Hmm.
integration and whatnot, it was seamless. It was fantastic. The experience and everything was really, really, really cool. So I could easily see that being the future. And I wouldn't mind because in the current phase, it's like literally everyone is trying to come up with an app to do the vast majority, the most basic level of functionality, which is personally for me annoying. I don't want to have to download just in my building. Oh, we're going to have automatic number plate recognition. Oh, you need to download our app to add your number plate on it and all of that. If it's a more seamless experience where you can just, oh, we noticed that you registered a new car and it's going to add it on there and have all of those AI functions. Like, wow, that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a nice future to live in.
Oh, yeah.
Murph, do you have any thoughts on that?
For me, I'm on board for any new innovation, right? I love tech. If it just make it make sense, you know, make it make sense that if you're doing something and it's supposed to do this, it should do that, and it should work with how you want to work. And if everything, the AI, if the phone is just an AI product where you speak to it, or you tap to it, and it does everything that you want a phone to do, and if it's just one big OS where there are no apps and it's just AI and it does everything and it makes sense in how you approach your work on the phone or how you use your phone, fine, fine by me. If everything is managed on the clouds where it's seamlessly integrated with everything that you want to do, perfect, great.
Yeah.
No, just
The
make
question,
it make sense. That's it.
yeah, I mean, the question then is, then do you really need a phone for that, or something like a pair of AR
No,
glasses or stuff like that that can showcase a screen and all of that for you? So,
see what, at the moment I saw Vision Pro or used Vision Pro, for me, I think that is the future, where in maybe next 10-15 years, if AR goggles or AR glasses
yeah.
picks up, it could replace smartphones entirely. Because if you have something on your eyes that's small and as light as these glasses, and it can
Hmm.
show you information and you can manipulate information with your hands, you don't need a phone, right? You don't need a phone at all. It just does everything, and then you add AI on top, and it just makes it everything seamless. Great. I don't want to use my phone. If I have to wear a glass, I would rather wear an AR glass, which shows me everything that I want to see and does everything that I want to do. Halas, that's it.
Yeah. It'd be a
Mhm.
weird future to see people walking in the mall just doing this. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, it was weird just having people talking to themselves when Bluetooth headsets came out. Yeah.
Listen, listen. Before smartphones or before apps, right? No one thought that we would be walking around like this, right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. After a while, we'll all be used to just doing this in the air, and it's good, and it's going to look very normal. As weird as this was back then,
Yep.
now it's completely normal. So
Absolutely.
it's just, you need to just make it make sense, and the tech will pick up. That's it.
Fair enough. Producer Amara says, but people change, our behaviors change, AI will change to keep up. I don't think it ever gets seamless.
Mm.
Well, I mean, what if AI itself is smart enough to know you're changing and change with you, right? I mean, it's just a constantly evolving thing. It's a different AI when you're 5 years old versus when you're 10 years old versus when you're 20 or
Yeah.
40. So I think, I think we're sort of very much along the building blocks of what AI will be in the next few decades. It's the start of something. So let's see where that future leads us down to.
Yeah. I think AI will change us rather than we changing AI to adapt to us. The
Hmm.
more the more advanced AI gets, we will adapt to it so it can benefit us in the long run. And then eventually AI will grow strong, maybe kill off humanity, and they will live on this planet. But that's for
Wow. Wow.
that will happen. We'll give it a few thousand years.
It's always an interesting debate when everyone talks about AI and then people start questioning, okay, if AI starts learning from AI, where does that lead us, right? At the
Mm.
end of the day, AI will become smart and it will continue becoming smarter as it continues to sort of learn from itself. So, yeah, that's definitely a whole different podcast, not just an episode. Uh, All right, so we spoke about the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. Now, in order to give it some competition, we've got Motorola that is releasing their new Razr 50, and they are releasing it in a regular Motorola Razr 50, which is what I'm holding, and there's an Ultra version, which is also the higher end of version of this device. Now, Muffy, do you see the screen size of this?
Hmm.
Samsung is somewhat similar to this. It's just slightly smaller, but it's big enough for you to sort of read things out. The regular edition of the Razr 50, where it's going is pricing. So last year when they introduced this, this was under 2,000 dirhams, which was a great price for a foldable. And I think they're going to go again, same pricing for this year as well. Feels really nice. They've got this vegan leather on the back, and it's got a nice construction quality. Massive screen on the front. Last year, the screen on this lesser or the cheaper version was just half the size of this. So this time we've got the full screen on the front, dual cameras, and let me just go ahead and open that for you. So it looks quite nice. I've not had much time to play with this one, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to give the Samsung a good run for its money, especially considering the price for it. What I like about Motorola again is that they are super clean with their software. It's literally the stock Android UI, so it's fairly snappy. There's no bloatware added to it. And the one thing that I'm not a big fan of is that their cameras aren't always the best. I don't think this one in particular has great cameras either. So if photography is something that's important to you, then you might want to skip this one and move more in the direction of the Samsung. But if that's not very important to you and if you're price conscious, then I think this is probably a better buy from that perspective.
What's
It's
the
got
price
all
of
the
this one?
so from what I gather, it's going to be the same as last year, which was 1,999 dirhams. I'm guessing that this is also going to be released at that same price range, which I think for a foldable is pretty impressive.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think these are just going to get cheaper and cheaper pretty much by by the next 3 or 4 years. We'll see CMF come up with one as well. So with maybe removable backs or something, who knows? All right, so yeah, that is the Motorola Razr 50, Razr 50 Ultra as well. There's one more phone that we sort of want to close with, and that is the new Honor 200 Pro. Now, this phone in particular focuses on portrait photography. So it's really great at capturing portrait shots. We played around with it a little bit, and it's got these particular filters and stuff that do a really good job of basically taking pictures of people itself. I think it does a really good job on that level. Other than that, it's a somewhat flagship level phone. It's got good specs, good screen, good camera, good battery, the usual stuff. And I think Honor as a manufacturer is sort of trying to fill in the void that Huawei kind of left off when they had to stop using Google services. So I think they're kind of coming in and filling in that void. It's very much along those lines. If you're a fan of Huawei phones, then you should definitely check this out. And if you definitely like taking photos of people, then this should definitely be right on top of your list with that. Sam or Muff, either one of you interested in the Motorola or the Honor phone? Anything either one of you guys would go for? Let's start with Muff on this.
Uh, no, no. Honor for sure, no.
That's
Razer,
short and sweet.
Razer, I might consider, but not right now. Let's wait for like a few more years, let the software develop properly, because the form factor is undeniably cool. And if I was to get a new phone with something that's unique, Razer is classic. The flip phone is great, but let's wait for the software to evolve more, that they actually use the two screens and the flip uh, form factor more, and then we will see. But right now, I'm in the iPhone. I'm sticking to that, and
Yeah,
it's going to be hard for like any phone to pull me off.
fair enough. Sam, how about yourself?
Uh, Pretty much the same, unfortunately. I would say I like the Motorola, like it's looks super cool. It's got sort of it brings back those, 2000 vibes of like something new, something fresh, something different. I really appreciate the price point as well because I feel
Mhm.
phone prices these days is just ridiculous. So especially like as a second phone, it's pocketable, it looks really premium, under 2000 dirham price point. Like, okay, something definitely to consider. But unfortunately, in the Apple ecosystem, I'd be like, oh, I want to airdrop photos between the devices or hotspot and, all of that kind of stuff. I'll probably be like, nope.
No, I mean, I can definitely see where you guys are sort of going with that. iPhone is definitely very hard to leave behind and move to a different OS. I use both Android and iPhones, and I will say that primarily I'm an iPhone user, but Android does bring you the flexibility, the coolness, all of that
Mm.
kind of stuff with form factors and different kinds of integrations and stuff like that. I think that that is kind of cool.
So, given that we've got all of these, different options of Android phones, like between Honor, Samsung, Google, Motorola, would you have like a preference as to say which brand you'd go with?
Um, I think there's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
The thing with Android and having so many choices is that different people will like different aspects of it. I think that's what's great about the Android ecosystem in general. If you want a phone that folds, Android's got something for you. If you want a phone that expands, Android's got something there for you. If you prefer a stock experience, you've got that. If you like beautifications, I don't know, you've got that. You've got some stunning cameras. You've got some insane wireless charging speeds. You've got anything and everything that you would potentially imagine on a phone. You can get that on an Android phone. You can get all of that on one Android device, which is where all of these manufacturers kind of come into play. They target slightly different sectors of the market because it's impossible to please everyone with any one device. Even with
Mm.
the iPhone, there are things that I wish were different, but I don't have an option over there. With
Yeah.
Android, it's very easy. It's very easy to sort of switch to a platform that that makes sense to you. So yeah, I think as far as which of these phones is concerned, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you like mobile photography and you take portrait shots, then Honor is great for that. If you want a foldable phone, then you've got Samsung and Motorola both. If price is a limiting factor, then obviously the Motorola can come into play. And if you want a flagship folding phone, the Flip is probably the better one for you. So there's different strokes,
Tons
different
of
folks. There's just
options. Yeah.
way too many options for Android. Absolutely. So yeah, that's how I would look at it.
So, guys, moving on to movies. Have you seen the Gladiator 2 trailer by any chance?
Yeah.
Any
I
thoughts?
did as well, and I didn't have high expectations. Anything that makes 2 decades for a sequel, or anything that takes 2 decades to come up with a sequel, is usually not something that I am very interested in.
Okay.
And Gladiator being a legend of a movie,
Yeah.
to follow something like that up is equally difficult. But I saw the trailer, and it's got Denzel Washington, and it's got Pedro Pascal, and it kept me interested. I liked it. I thought it was quite interesting. I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited about this one.
Fair. Muff, any thoughts?
Yeah. Yes. Same as the boss. I think it looks more grander, more Game of Thronesy kind of thing. But since Ridley Scott is behind it, and there's some very good actors in the movie, I have faith that it's gonna be a banger.
A banger. I like that reference.
Sam, what did you think?
Uh, I think two-thirds of it, felt the same way. Like it looked really good. Obviously, high expectations given it is a classic. It's a fantastic, movie. But then with the whole sort of rap, soundtrack that kind of ran towards the end, I was like, this is a Gladiator, right? So a little bit confused in that standpoint. As long as Hans Zimmerman is still involved from a soundtrack standpoint, I think then we should be okay. Maybe it was just for the trailer. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, that's definitely possible. Just one quick question: who's the guy who's actually playing the main lead here? Do
I
anyone know who he
yeah,
is?
Isn't it Russell Crowe's son from? That's how I
is
understood
he?
it.
No, his name is
No?
Paul
No, as
Mescal.
in real life.
Oh, no idea.
Oh, I watched him in this mini series. I forgot the name. It was Nothing Something, and he was pretty good at it. A very subdued, very shy kind of role, and I thought he was a very good actor. So now to see him in this kind of avatar
Mhm.
seems pretty good. He's a good actor, so hopefully he will do good here.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I haven't seen him before, so I really don't know how good or whatever his acting skills are. But hopefully he'll live up,
Yeah,
to the expectations.
We'll have to find
big
Cool.
shoes
out.
to fill.
Movie comes out when? Next year, right? Not this year.
It
Next year.
is.
I think it's next year.
Think it's November
Google says November
15th.
15th. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
November 15th. Okay, so in 4 months, 5 months time. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Right before the Oscar season, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So expect some Oscar nominations, or hopefully a chance of them. No, exciting. I mean, I'll definitely go check it out. I'm excited to see this. All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up at that. We spoke about a lot of new phones that are going to be releasing over the next week or two, and we also spoke about the new Gladiator movie. And surprisingly, all of us were more excited about the Gladiator movie than any of the phones that we spoke about. Just shows us about the phone fatigue that we've sort of come through in this. But anyways, let us know what you guys think. Obviously, you can follow us on YouTube, comment us on that if there's any of the phones that you're interested in that you'd like to see us speak more about. This podcast is also available across all the usual channels, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, which used to do podcasts, but now YouTube Music is their official podcast app. And I'm not sure if that's going to continue to stay until the podcast goes live, because they keep changing things every week. But yeah, do keep following us and let us know what else you'd like to know. Until then, this is Abbas signing out. See you guys next time.
See
Adios.
ya.